I would. Oh, there we go. We got the sound. I guess I just have to plug it in and out. Screw it. All right, what and all. I apologize for those short difficulties. Like Dan said, I guess I had to let you go through the Sagittarian portal. But welcome to your composite chart webinar. I would. Oh, there we go. This is the Peace Dealer. And yeah, let's get this show on the road. So I've called this chart webinar course Soul Fusion. And when we, of course, bring into mind the fusion of souls, this keeps into account the energy that gets blended when two or more people are in a room, or when two or more people share energies together. One beautiful thing about the composite chart, as opposed to the synastry chart, once again, is that the energy that you carry alone in a natal chart of your own gets completely fused with the chart of another. And if you think about how complex your own natal energy already is, there's just literally a whole world of magic that opens up when you interpret the chart of, the composite chart of you and a partner, or you and a friend, or especially, you and your family members. So just to reiterate once again a little bit real quickly, with this composite chart energy, what allows you to understand this concept in a great way is to almost envision like a shared energy whenever you read a composite chart. If there were perhaps if your higher selves hit the fusion ha dance and like became one shared entity, this almost necessarily has an energy of its own. And interpreting composite charts really help you almost embrace the idea or be more aware of how, like chemistry, two energies comes or two chemicals come together to create a new solvent or solution. And when you think about being able to interpret and see these blended energies, as in this webinar, we'll go over how to really make sense of each position and whatnot. But the fusion of these energies very powerfully and soundly will make you aware of the direction that your relationship with someone else has. As such, it's so valuable to be able to read a composite chart, because whereas in the part one of the series, we talked about the synastry chart and we look at how compatible you are with someone, the composite chart will give you, once again, a very detailed analysis and look at the actual relationship as a third entity outside of the both of you, which in a large part and parcel, as we will see, brings people together and could almost be like a higher being that you could incorporate. But it just wanted to start that off by making sure you see this as its own separate entity that fuses and blends the energies that you share with two or more people. Thank you for watching this webinar, and until next time, Narsha. So, the composite chart, of course, like I've just reiterated, it is the natal chart of the relationship. And whereas in a Davidson chart, it kind of just adds your birthdays together and then does the chart of that birthday, the composite chart will literally just blend the charts and the planets in the chart and give with the midpoint method, the middle point of each of the energies. For example, if you had a Venus in Virgo and your partner had a Venus in Scorpio, what's the middle of that? Libra. So you would have a composite Venus in Libra, where your willingness to love organization and the details, and they having a deeper love for extreme feelings, blends together for a very liberal, cool energy. And this is where, you know, you get to become a bit of an alchemist when you can experiment with these energies and seeing how they blend in the composite. I put in that uh, note for higher power because this is actually a very powerful technique. Interpreting a composite chart is actually a technique for contacting a higher power. And when I go through the advanced techniques later, I'll kind of allude to certain tips you can use. But when you know the nature of the shared energy you share with you know, two or more people, you know how to interact with that energy, and connecting with that energy in itself could really almost align a whole lot of how you interact with the people you're in a relationship with. Regardless, though, we are now going to run down the composite planets and the significance that they share in the chart, which give, like in the natal chart, your identity and personality. But since this shared energy does not have a human vessel, it does not necessarily interpret in the same way. So, whereas when you read the natal chart of an individual, you're reading them with their own person and probably like human limitations, you don't have to necessarily account for such limitations in the composite chart, which once again helps you embrace interpersonal themes of two being way more than one. Although, once again, as we look at some case studies, you'll kind of see how this actually manifests itself. But one moment before I start the webinar, I'm going to pause real quick. I want to add a couple more slides. So give me a good 2 minutes and I will be right back. Actually, to be honest, I can just do this in front of you. Oops. Oh, cool. All right, y'all, let's get this show back on the road. Let's do this. Whew. Okay. So we are going to start, of course, from the planets. And it's definitely important to know how the planets influence and affect the composite chart. And what I will be providing are certain keywords so that when you look at the chart, you know what they represent before we kind of get into how to interpret those keywords aloud. So, of course, when we start with the composite sun, everything and every planet in the composite chart is an awareness of the shared energy that both people, in the context of two people, share in order to now reach balance or stasis. And as I'll mention later, it's really important to examine how the composite chart relates with your own chart so that you'll see directly how the relationship aligns with your own life or blocks your own life. But that's more that's more going to be in the later part of this webinar. As far as running the settings, I definitely will. And yeah, for those of you with questions, definitely stay tuned. At the very end of the webinar, we will hold a Q&A. But yeah, as far as how to run the chart, we definitely will do a little tutorial, as I will show you a case study on, and we'll look at a couple of composite charts of some people you may know. So regardless, the composite, or have heard of, but the composite sun has much to do with the shared awareness that you have with someone. And the sun in your natal chart, of course, is your awareness. It's your spirit. It's who you are. So the life of your relationship is going to be the composite sun. And it's very important, of course, to examine and analyze the power of your sun. The power of the composite sun is the power of the relationship and the source of the relationship that you have. This is your number one go-to when you really want to get an idea of what the relationship will look like and be centered around. As such, the composite sun is your portal to evolution, and the purposeful nature of this energy will remind you of what it is you're both here to either do, be, or have. Why you're here to do that will be indicated by the nodes. As we now shift, the very relevant nature of the composite sun will not only show where both of you can lean and harness this power, or what, that it's really good to know what the relationship is. That's going to be the composite sign. Especially if you want to ask, what are we in the relationship? You're going to look at the sun first, and then you're going to look at the house and sign it's in to see what flavor and how it manifests. But by far, the juice of the relationship in the composite chart and the soul, the in my opinion, the most important part of the relationship is by far the composite moon. The composite moon in the chart is where both of your souls meet together. This is why I say in a synastry chart, it is very important to acknowledge and be very mindful of your moon sign compatibility. The best relationships will have moon signs that are compatible, specifically like moon sextiles or trines. because when they meet together in the composite chart, the sign and house that the moon meets is are where both of your souls literally come together to communicate. And depending on the energy, this could be why some of you feel such a powerful soul connection with someone. It's 100% usually the composite moon, where maybe your moons, usually the moons will get along together for that, but whether they get along well or not, certain energies could evoke very deep feelings that you have between certain people. This will give you the secrets of the union you both share, and this will be where you share emotions. But of course, in many relationships, it's not necessarily that people personally on an individual level will like have the same feelings about things. So the composite moon gives you the secrets and understanding to learn how you can both connect together on a deep soul level, and how your energies at a soul level connect alchemically. So as we shift to the composite Mercury, this is very underrated. And when I go to the advanced techniques, when you want to like do a composite chart hack, there's three things you want to look at. You want to look at the north node and the vertex, the composite moon, and the composite Mercury. Because if your composite Mercury is debilitated or afflicted, then you can have like the greatest relationship, but between that and the Mercury compatibility, you won't be able to communicate. Like you won't be able to actually share, understand each other. You could understand each other on a soul level, which is more important, but the ability to actually socially express yourselves is not only highlighted by the composite Mercury in the composite chart, but this will show you the lesson and purpose of how your minds work together, which is weird because purpose is more ascribed by like Jupiter and the North Node, but Mercury carries a certain sense of magic here, to where certain miscommunications in relationships could be very well solved if you know maybe there's a horrible transit squaring your composite Mercury, and that's why you both can't stop arguing. But the communication ability will be highlighted where the blended Mercury goes into. Of course, there's an importance to honor your own individual Mercury placement, but this will help you understand the blended language that both of you kind of make up on your own, and the nuances, both physically and mentally, that kind of allow you to share your minds together so that you're both processing and analyzing data in ways that supersede what you can do alone. The composite Mercury is really cool, especially with that blended language bullet point. When you master the composite Mercury, depending on what sign it is, you could actually learn how to create your own special language together, because you'll learn how this energy works. For example, like a composite Mercury and Pisces, those people are telepathic. Like they could actually like, they don't need to say words to each other. Like they're just going to speak to each other on a higher level. So a Gemini who shares that aspect may not understand that at all. Like they may be feeling it, but it's at a lower level. Whereas a Capricorn or a Pisces who has that, they'll know. They'll probably know more than the other partner that that's happening. So it's really cool. Whereas if it's a composite Mercury in Libra, maybe it might not be too telepathic, but it's going to highlight when both people get together, the ability for great social expression, of ideas. This could actually be an aspect that makes you more willing to go out and like, or at least like be more vocal about your ideas. But very cool stuff. And of course, the composite Venus is very powerful too. This is where the shared love and where both of your tastes combine together to give the relationship an overall understanding of almost not just how but why you're both connecting at a heart level. Venus varies anywhere from the platonic realm to deeply erotic. So this, of course, gets influenced the deeper you actually cultivate this energy. The composite Venus in a composite chart also shows a pair's ability to manifest together, along with Saturn and the combined taste. Usually, though, composite Venuses, if the Venuses aren't compatible, are hard to combine because you, you know, transcending issues here have a lot to do with compromise. And once again, transits and aspects to the composite Venus will show how this is either challenged or brought up. But the shared love that is indicated with this placement shows where your hearts are together. This is once again very important because you have your own personal individual heart, but the heart fusion that takes place when you tap into this relationship could indicate how both of you can expand upon the connection and the relationship lessons you're meant to. So, once again, like what's really cool about this composite energy is that when you kind of see things as beyond and just bigger than yourself, you actually could use this relationship as a place or space to hold to access a higher power. So when you access the composite energy, it's like you're pulling both together, and you know it's only usually when both parties are willing to actually come together and compromise, if may be, that the composite energy comes out quite profoundly. And this is also indicated in the composite Mars, where both powers of both individuals are combined and drive and passion is shared. Whereas the composite Venus in the chart will show where two or more people like to please each other. Like a composite Venus will indicate to a degree where someone is probably going to go out to eat or what music they're both going to want to listen to together. Whereas the composite Mars will indicate how they go about, man, how they go about accomplishing activity, or how they go about acting together. Which, if you want to look at the source of power struggles and conflict, you're going to want to look at the composite Mars, because the composite Mars in the chart will show you how the both of you fight. Arguments, of course, will look at the Mars and Mercury. So if you have a composite Mars square Mercury, the arguments are going to be bad. At least, even if they're not bad, they're going to be intense. Whereas a sextile or trine, you're looking at something that's more pleasant, where you're both willing to hear each other out. But at the same time, you still want to compare that to your natal placements to see how that might rub you. Whereas a certain aspect could be pleasing to someone else, but it hurts you. They can use that to manipulate you or unconsciously affect you. But once again, the composite Mars is going to indicate how both of you take your sexual energy and experience the sexual act, but it's also going to indicate how you both fight, how you both argue, how you both release that drive and passion. Okay. Thank you so much, Nasia. I was almost worried I was boring you guys. So I'm glad that you're loving the information. Um, Actually, before I go to the other planets, just want to ask you on the live chat, how have you been understanding the planets so far? Would you say you've gotten a pretty good understanding of the composite energy? I once again just want to give you keywords so that when you see them in the chart, you know what to think of, because then we're going to talk about, right now I'm giving you the outline, and then we're going to fill it in with some color soon. But yeah, the composite Mars will end the personal planets. Thank you so much. And Lilac, I think it's because I'm moving back and forth, so I'll just stay still. But yeah, other than that, the composite Mars is important because this is your combined power, especially for those of you who are very motivated in relationships. Let me go back a little bit. However, oops, the composite Sun is, the awareness of what you see in the relationship. The composite Moon is how you both feel. Okay. This is the most important part, because when you look at the composite Sun, right, this is what you both see. But just because it's what you both see, it's very, and this is a very, I'm going to just overlap advanced techniques here just to let you understand. But it's very important that you compare that to your own sun, because even though you have a shared blended energy, you're going to look at it differently. For example, when I work with Capricorns, we usually have a composite sun in Aries. So the shared awareness we have is quite exciting, because with that energy in Aries, whatever we act on happens instantly, right? However, the way I see Aries is different from the way that Capricorn is going to see Aries. Aries to Gemini is more cool. It's more social. It plugs Gemini into a higher social network, whereas to Capricorn, it's more personal. And then also in your house. So keep that in mind. And this is the most important thing, especially when you run composite charts with people you don't know that well. The awareness is going to be different, but the soul is very important, because when it comes to the moon, this is still a very debatable topic. It's something, whereas the awareness, it's something you see, so it's harder to debate that. But here's a secret. Trust me on this. Wherever the composite moon is, both of you feel this, because a lot of you get in relationships where you feel something intense for somebody, especially if you have a composite moon in a water sign. It's important to understand that both people feel the emotions. However, both people are not going to feel it the same way. So let's say you have a composite Cancer moon with someone, and you are very intuitive. You're going to feel that energy very deeply. You're going to feel that you and this person have a strong depth that you share, but this person might not be intuitive at all. So they feel it, but they won't understand it like you understand it. So that's really important, okay? Because just like the composite Mercury, this is how your minds blend while still honoring with your shared heart. Your minds blend while still honoring your personal energy. The shared heart is in the same way too, because this is where, especially for those of you in romantic relationships with others, if you work on your composite Venus, this is a great way to work on the love you both share, obviously, and the relationship. And it's important to track at transits to this composite Venus and the composite Mars as well, because if the power is, of course, whenever the composite Mars is stressed, you're going to see very, actually let's do a rundown, because it's important to know that too. Whenever the composite Sun is stressed, you're going to lose the focus of the relationship, and both of you will lose ambition to really remember what you're kind of here to evolve into. When it's powerful, though, you have the vibrance, you have the charisma, and you have the evolution to really make yourselves better people. The composite Moon, when it is stressed by horrible angles to transits, It's going to really frustrate your feelings together and knock you both out of sync. And this is where certain things could really possess both of you. You really want to, you really, if there's one thing you could know about the composite, if, I mean, the sun's important, but if all you can know is the composite moon, that will at least let you be hip to transits to it, to let you know how you're both going to feel, because there's a rational quality to the moon. And then the composite Mercury. I'm sorry, when it's powerful, though, this is going to really denote strong soul links. This is now the secret portal to which you can be telepathic together and like share sacred feelings or just kind of know things without having to say it, which is like very mind blowing to me as a Gemini who has to like say everything, which is just annoying sometimes, but it is what it is. Mercury. Speaking of Mercury, shared Mercury is important because when you understand how to master your composite Mercury and also your personal Neptunes, you can now learn, because you'll know where your minds are blended. If you think of your mind in the quantum realm and you know where to meet that energy, this will teach you telepathy. This will teach you how to like, communicate in advanced ways with your partner, especially when you add two or more people. And then, of course, the share. But with stressful aspects to the composite Mercury, you're going to have misunderstandings. You're going to have arguments, especially when Neptune is squaring it or involved. And when it's powerful, you're going to have increased communication. This is going to be how both of you can come up with ideas as well. The stressful aspects to a composite Venus will have much to do with infidelity, not necessarily in the same way as Mars, which will have to do with the lack of self-control. Once the respect is gone, with the Venus and the love is gone, Venus is going to want to look for this elsewhere. But because this is like composite and shared, this is going to have to do with the lessons of love you both share together, as opposed to synastry charts where we're now looking at individually both of you two. So, definitely when it's stressful, you're going to have to deal with value judgments that really remind both of you how strong the love you have. But remember now, for composite, it's less about the shared love you have for each other and more about the shared love you have together. So composite charts are combining both of your energies. So it's you two versus the world in a certain way. And synastry charts, we're now going to look at the love between you and the other person. So that's kind of what I was trying to say. When you look at composite charts, this higher power is both of you, and it's almost as if you're fusing together. So you never want to read a composite chart like you're trying to interpret the compatibility between two people, because that's what a synastry chart's for. Once you've now merged with a partner or more people, and you're ready to really see how you can align, which requires a certain sense of humility and sacrifice, then you're now, of course, tapping into a higher power. So, of course, the composite Mars, when there is stressful aspects, this will be an imbalance of power, usually power struggles, and quite unfortunately, horrible fights. But when it's in its power, when there are positive aspects, you can have breakthroughs of power moves and just high passion and great sexual energy that could be alchemized or definitely enjoyed. So when we look at the composite trends, composite, just like the natal chart, the outer planets in a composite chart are going to incorporate outside influences like trends and rules and laws that change or subtly shift during different generations. Jupiter will really speak more to the humor, the sense of humor, but also the beliefs that, compared with Mercury, can lead to greater arguments or philosophical exploration. Whereas Saturn will lend a lot more to the karma, as we'll speak on soon. But composite Saturns are very important because they're going to indicate at a great level what are the lessons that you and restrictions you both have to go through in order to learn some lessons together. Sometimes composite Saturns are necessary to protect one or two people from each other, or from certain things outside in the relationships. But composite Saturn and Jupiter will greatly influence how easily or harshly a relationship flows. The composite Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto now are going to they're going to be more relevant if they're in different generations to see how they blend, but you could use them if they to really indicate the psychic potential of a relationship, especially if they're conjunctions that these make to personal planets, or if composite outer planets make conjunctions or relevant aspects to your personal planets in the chart. The composite Uranus will really deal more with, once again, the generational evolution and revolutionary, rebellious energy, whereas Neptune will really speak on how both people's intuitions blend. Once again, differing generations of this will be quite fun to see how they alchemize. But if you're with someone in the same generation, basically it's just amplifying the power of it. Because for example, to people with the same composite Neptune and Uranus probably were in the same generation where they gel to the same TV shows, the same lingo, and the composite Pluto will combine that darkness and element of psychological transformation and rebirth. But honestly, it's more influential in a individual chart because, once again, it's a generational influence. Natal conjunctions to these outer planets will bring more prevalence to their significance. And with that being said, when we look at the composite destiny of the chart, this is one of the most important points, especially when we look at the transits, because this will indicate quite powerfully how well, or the purpose of two people getting together. Okay, so this is one of the other hacks. Like, you always want to look at the composite north node, because this is going to let you know why you're together. What is the lesson you're meant to learn? And once you really internalize that, you'll know through transits, it's all transit based with destiny, when you're learning lessons, what's activating lessons, whether you're done with lessons, the vertex, especially in synastry, if someone's north node is on your vertex, then you're talking about someone who's probably destined to either get married or be in your life significantly. In terms of the composite chart now, this is going to indicate very profoundly element of fatedness and stuff that's supposed to happen, especially in transits, where you always want to look at planets that cross your composite north node or the composite vertex, because they will indicate fated events per house and sign to give the flavor. And then Saturn, once again, when you combine them with the north nodal vertex, will give you an idea of the karmic lessons. So the north node will answer the why. The vertex will indicate through transits what's going to trigger these karmic lessons. And then Saturn is going to be how you go through the karmic lessons. So you always want to make sure in the personal or composite, the north node and Saturn are cool together. Even if they don't make positive aspects, they have to be at least relatable, because if they square, if they make challenging aspects, then it's just a difficult karma that both of you all have to go through, or individually. And now, as we get into, now we're going to fill this in with some color. So we've talked about the planets. When you look at a composite chart, you're going to see the planets. Now, if you want to understand, now I'm going to give you important keywords to understand what the planets will act like in the elements and the states, basically the signs. So you want to take the keywords I've given you for the planets and then fit them in to the elements and the states. So when we start with the elements, when you have composite planets in fire signs, this indicates that your relationship is evoking the energy of passion and charisma. Composite stelliums are a majority, and when you think of now energy, because the sun will be dominant. It definitely, when you talk about dominance, you're going to talk about the sun. But let's take a percentage. If a majority of the percentage of your composite energy is in fire, then you have a fire relationship. And a fire dominant relationship is an exciting relationship. It's a relationship that is meant to light a fire under your butt and rev you up. All right. And this is where, once again, like I'll mention in advanced techniques, it's very important to make sure you can hang, you can get with someone, and this shifts all your composite energy. You can get with like an air sign or a fire sign, and it'll shift all the composite energy into fire signs. And if you're an earth sign, this is going to be very tiring for you. You might want something that's more earthy or slow, but the fire and air sign is going to be fun because they're used to that. So unless you like fire, you know what I mean? Fire energy is going to be, once again, very exciting. The purpose of it is just to experience and generate fun. It's meant to live in the moment. All right. So in the energy of Aries, you're going to find this passionate energy allows you to understand who you are and gain power through that in raw ways. With Leo, composite Leo energy, you evoke this passion through courage and you sustain it creatively. So this really opens the door for fun energy in his relationships. And this is no matter what planet you have. Also in Sagittarius, this fire is going to evoke itself in a sense of adventure. So these are the three dimensions of fire. Aries is going to be more raw and powerful with how you evoke this passion. When you have composite fire energy in Aries, it's what you do with the fire. And you're going to find it's a relationship where you do a lot with this passionate energy. With Leo, you're going to find it's more about having a lot of this passionate energy and standing in your courage and having fun here. And with Sagittarius, it's a lot more about going on adventures and being with this energy. All right. So fun, exciting relationships have fire. Of course, as we'll speak on, you want a composite chart, you'll find a blessed composite chart has all elements. All right. But if you see a grand fire chart in a composite energy, then you know that there is a completion of excitement. All right. So when we now move on to Earth, composite Earth elements or Earth dominant charts, they have organization and stability. So yeah, the fire is very fun, but relationships like that, they start off really exciting and they fizzle away. Unless they have strong Earth, then it's something that will last. Honestly, these relationships are super boring, but they're really cool if they have fire or air. If not, if it's just Earth, no offense, mad boring, but it lasts. It's something that has values. Yeah, it might be a bit boring, but it's something that actually has substance to it because the time spent building upon all this energy actually, doesn't fizzle away. It actually is something that you can materially manifest from. And usually this really you'll see Earth dominant relationships in work. All right. Whenever you see like romantic charts, that's usually more fire, water, and a little bit of air. Earth charts you're going to see a lot in working relationships or just very stable relationships. Taurus is going to have a lot to do with having material and manifestations. People with a lot of Taurus energy, when they get together, they can manifest a lot. They can make a lot together. Virgo is going to be more about the lifestyle. What is it that happens with all this control of the material energy? And then Capricorn is, what do you do with this material energy? How do you really control together? All right. Any composite Capricorn energy is very powerful because those two can get together to direct a lot of energy around. Whereas the Virgo is very magical. I still feel Virgo's a mystery because Pisces is a mystery, but I somehow understand Pisces way more than Virgo, which just shows how much I have so little sense of reality. But Taurus with the manifestation definitely accents all this. So a grand earth trine is going to really indicate a relationship. And pay attention here. If you have a grand earth trine composite, that means if you get with that person or when you're with that person, you could be like millionaires. I mean, that's a huge exaggeration, but there's stability that both of you can both get together because the earth now compared, and especially if you don't have like a grand earth trine in your chart, composite charts together can complete energies that you may lack. And this is really cool because even if they don't have it in their chart, you might both have it together. And that also counts. So that's how the elements work in Earth whenever you have planets in Earth. Now, when we go to water, composite elements in water is what helps you feel the connections. A lot of times when people have these relationships with people, where it's like, oh my gosh, this feeling is just so deep, or it's divine, it's something that I can't explain. Usually they have a composite moon in Scorpio, Pisces, or Cancer, or a stellium of energy in water, especially Cancer. All right. So with composite elements in water, especially a grand water trine, this is what's going to have you feel that 10 of cups in the tarot. The grand earth trine is like the 10 of pentacles, but the grand water trine is like the 10 of cups, where it's just perfect love, perfect bliss. When both of you get together, whether it's a friendship or romantic, it's just really feel good. All right. In Cancer, this is how holy the emotions could be brought together in sincerity. Of course, composite water, I'm giving you the ideal where composite Scorpio is pure. Any composite Scorpio energy that you have has to be purified and really goes into deep, intimate, complex connections you share with someone. This is an attainment. And then, of course, composite Pisces is at a divine level where you're literally transcending. Any composite Pisces energy you have is like supernatural, which confuses people because not everyone is supernatural. And it's usually one or of the other who already has that ability, or they kind of both come into it together. So that's ideal. Emotions, unfortunately, are messy because people are messy. And that corruption comes from the other elements, which influences water, because if the other elements aren't necessarily clean, then water is going to, instead of be holy, pure, divine, be very evil and dark. So when these emotions are conflicted, a lot of this energy can rise to deep hatred. But ultimately, it's still going to be a very psychically powerful connection with planets here that really help you understand and gain a quality of empathy and feeling. All right. Once again, composite Cancer, you're going to feel the same feelings. Composite Scorpio, you're going to have this deep merging feeling or just deep psychological connection. And then Pisces, it's a very divine, dreamy, higher advanced connection. So composite air, I had to save the best element for last. I was joking. The composite air is the capacity for communication. All right. So you can have a very exciting relationship, or one that's very stable, or one that's just deeply emotional. But if there's no air, then you don't communicate together. You might feel this emotions with someone, but just to talk to this person, it's so hard. It's almost impossible. I actually am experiencing that with someone. We have no air. We have no Libra. We have no Aquarius, other than the North Node, and then I'm the Gemini. So other than that, there's like no Gemini, especially in the composite. So it's like, to talk to this person, There's no air. So air is very important. When there's only air, the relationship could be a bit superficial. There could be great communication, but that's maybe about it. But regardless, this will be the shared relationships ability to actually communicate and share and gain information with the world at large. Especially with Composite Libra, this will be your willingness, along with Aquarius, to actually go out and make new friends as a couple or as a friendship. And the Composite Gemini will be what information you're both able to derive together. What is it you both communicate about? Composite Aquarius will now be the knowledge and more so the network in terms of elements. What are the type of friends you meet when you go out? Whereas Libra will show how is it that both of you socialize. Once again, if you have no air, you're probably just going to be socially awkward together, or you wouldn't even go out because there's no air. You see this a lot in composite relationships that are just dominant water and earth. They're just complete homebodies, and all they do is just like eat and sleep together in their like cave. Whereas fire and air dominant, they're just so social. They go out all the time, but they probably have no depth or substance to them. So you always want to have a good balance. Air and water dominant, you're gonna have a relationship that is they communicate about very spiritual and psychic things, but it could also lead to harsh miscommunications if that air is insensitive. Fire water is a very creative, productive relationship. Fire water relationships are very hot, steamy, sexual, and just a bunch of drama for no reason. And then air and earth is just very cold, robotic, lifeless, but very efficient and very much a power couple, actually. Anyway, regardless, that really wraps up the elements of the composite chart. And when we now move into the states of the composite, this gives us another dimension of how to see the energies. So we'll break this down, of course, into mutable, fixed, and cardinal energies. You want to once again look at these as dominance. Like if you have a majority of energy in mutable signs, then this is going to be a very magical relationship. The purpose of the relationship is meant to be experienced. And you want to be mindful, especially of where the sun and the moon are. Okay. Virgo is a mystery, but I just read that as Virgo is mastery, and it very much so is. It's the perfecting that it could get into. So, but yeah, Virgo is a mystery for sure. As far as, once again, the mutable energies, when you have composite energies, especially your sun and moon in a mutable sign, this is about the magic you both create and generate and experience together. Mutable energies in the composite mean that things happen when you're together, which is important to not always control, but to just be at peace with, especially when it's in Pisces. In Gemini, this is going to be the magic of truth that you both uncover almost magically, especially composite suns in Geminis. When they get together, like information just comes out, like they suddenly become truth magnets. Same with Virgo, except these are going to be real facts and details that you both experience. And the earth element of Virgo is going to incorporate and bring into account, once again, more, logical, rational, and material details that could be tangibly expressed and felt. Sagittarius is going to be very flashy, and this kind of experience is going to really, with this energy, show you the meaning of things. Once again, though, this is a shared power that is gained, whereas Pisces is going to inspire the relationship with great imagination to move forward with. All right, but yeah, once again, The mutable energy is all about magic and it's all about the happening. And then the fixed energy, which is very important, whenever you have a composite sun or moon or dominant energy and fixed suns, this has much to do with the wealth and the love that you both share and also manifest. All right. This is definitely seen in the case of composite Taurus, where this has much to do with the accumulation of material possessions and values, learning how to be appreciated between each other. You'll find that the fixed sign energy, literally like a magnet, attracts these energies in these dimensions to the couple. Leo, this comes in the form of creative experiences where you both are able to connect in fun ways. You might not even be a creative person, but when that composite Leo energy activates, you're suddenly creating with that person. Or there's just creative energy around you to experience. And Scorpio, especially in the case of the composite moon, this is going to be experienced as a deep soul connection. It's going to be experienced as wisdom that's shared, secrets, and occult wisdom about the energy that is being generated that's shared. That's the currency. And in Aquarius, it's knowledge and it's also cosmic energy. It's interesting when, especially in the case of a composite moon in Aquarius or sun, when you get together with that person, you just start channeling like knowledge, and it just opens up the grounds for you to access this. But the main thing here is a lot of this energy is magnetic when you come together, and this attracts this. And whereas the fixed is attracting, right? The mutable just is. The cardinal is repelling. It does. It actually exudes forward. And composite energy in cardinal signs is the power of the relationship, and it's what you can both do together. So the mutable is all about what you be together, what you experience together. The fixed is what you have together, and the cardinal is what you do together. The cardinal, the composite Aries is raw actions before it's filtered. So you'll find very sexual and also very dynamic energy here. It's very fun because of the fire part of it. And then Cancer is going to have to do with emotional actions, but more psychic energy that you both kind of creatively express with. This is a little bit of a mystery too, because it's not like psychic where you're just having these psychic feelings. There's certain things that are expressed and projected in subtle ways. Libra is self-explanatory. The cardinal energy here not only adds an artistic touch to what is both done, but composite Libra energies speak of social etiquette, grace, and power that is really exuded and very charmingly expressed. You'll find people with composite Libra are very stylish together. And then composite Capricorn, we're now talking about executive partnerships. We're now talking about very powerful energies where you're acting at a bigger scale than most. So with that being said, we're going to take a small break before we go talk about the houses. We'll take like a short 5-minute break. That should be good for now. And yeah, hang tight, y'all. Hold on. Also, how's the information so far too? I hope you've been enjoying the webinar. We're gonna go a little bit more advanced soon, but yeah, see you in 5 minutes, and I hope you've been enjoying the webinar so far.